Hello all, this is Kate, TheLowSimmer. We are at the Narwhal Arms in Windenburg, building yet again more for rent, a for rent build, I suppose. This world in particular, I I have always, I guess, shied away from the style that is part of this get together pack in Windenburg because it's so, I want to call it Norwegian. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's everything's so tall and the roof pitches are so high, and it's just not something that I would typically do. But I felt like Windenburg is also the perfect place to put rentals or multiple families on one lot, because European homes tend to be much more efficient than American homes in that they have, they're smaller, and they're taller. They tend to build small, tall, not even necessarily townhomes. But if you think about like Privet Drive on Harry Potter, where it's just a whole bunch of homes. I think about that a lot with European, and so I kind of went for the European style here. I felt like it was very fitting in this neighborhood of Windenburg, and I actually managed to make 3 spacious homes on this lot. And you'll see me furnish 2 of them. I have the other one kind of open, and that's how I'm going to upload it to the gallery. Is 2 of them are completed, and the other one is kind of up for you to decide how you want it to go. I also will have it uploaded as a residential. That is because of this weird glitch about getting rental properties down from the gallery is kind of messed up. So I already knew from the beginning, from the creators that had early content, early access, they were saying that you should really just build as a residential first and then later go and change it to a residential rental and, apply all of the characteristics to it that way. But now I'm also hearing people say, like, you should also probably just get it that way on the gallery, because downloading a residential rental from the gallery doesn't work for some reason. And you know what? That's fine. I just wanted you to understand, like, if you put in the filter for residential rental in the gallery, you might not find this. But you should be able to find me. I am TheLowSimmer, or maybe I'm just LowSimmer on the gallery. I don't remember. Search for one of those and then you can find this. But like I said, I managed to build really spacious, efficient homes here, which was my goal, because I was really thinking about how these Europe in general, their designs tend to be much more efficient, make a lot of sense. So this is a 4-bedroom, I think 3-bathroom house, maybe 2.5 bathroom house. And the second one that I furnish, I think it ends up being 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, but we'll get to it. We'll see. But yeah, I'm furnishing this first one. I was happy with the exterior. It's got that tall, narrow look about it that as I pan around this build, you'll see in the background. At Windenburg, that's what all of the builds look like. And it's a really unique style that I think a lot of Americans really like. But Americans want to build an enormous Tudor home instead of something efficient like this. So I like the idea that this can truly service a large family in The Sims and still be compact. You're not taking up this entire 30 by 20 lot with one family. You could have 3 families on here, and love that idea. Love that, this is also a place that if you have the seasons pack, that ice skating rink automatically comes up in the wintertime in the back of, like, right behind where this lot is in Windenburg, right there on the bay. Or inlet, I'm not really sure what you would call it, but there's things to do here. This is the Narwhal Arms, where if from the Get Together pack, if you join, I don't remember what, one of the default groups that's in that pack, they by default meet on this lot because it's a nightclub. And it's nightclubs and lounges and bars in The Sims are just, I feel like, if you go to one, you've seen them all. And so I'm not really keen on keeping a lot of those, but I I am keen on trying to make this world, making my Sims game more realistic by having a lot more smaller houses and rental houses, because I feel like that's real life. That's how a lot of people function. And it's funny how you have to draw the line with in The Sims 4. Obviously, you can't make it like real life. There's so many things about The Sims that is just not like real life. The economy is a big one that's just not like real life. However, so you kind of pick and choose, but this is something that I wanted some realism in my game. So with the For Rent pack, I'm really enjoying just populating all of these lots in the world with rental spaces. So in this home, I believe I furnished it for a few children, a dog. I also wanted this first one that I worked on. My goal was to make it look like somebody has lived a lifetime in here. And what I mean by that is somebody's probably lived here for 20 years, and there's 20 years of love and care and TLC that's been had in this home. And so I wanted it to have a little bit of the older dated style of things that you might see in an established home that somebody's lived in for a long time. But it's also been taken care of. It's not a complete mess. It's just they have a lot of stuff, because that just happens over time. Maybe that's also a very American concept, is that you just accumulate stuff over time. But I like that idea. I like the idea of a cozy established home, and that's what I went for with this very first build. So it's got kind of traditional, almost dated interior design style. But I feel like everything does have a purpose here. They don't have a lot of frivolous, mess, and they don't have a lot of items that are just taking up space. Like, I feel like these are all things that you would use in the home. For example, putting teacups down in the kitchen. It's not something that the Sims use, but from a realism standpoint, I believe that people would have teacups sitting in their kitchen, or having like the pot on the stove. That's not a pot you can use. And when you cook on the stove, it doesn't affect it. But it looks nice. It just looks like a little bit more real, which I appreciate in The Sims. So wanted everything to look like, it's a curated, well-established home. Somebody takes good care of this place. It's just a little older. The exterior was a little bit hard for me to do. This was one of the very first expansion packs that the Sims 4 team ever released. And they have, in the world, they have this stone on the ground that we don't have like a paint, like what's it called? Terrain paint, or a flooring tile that matches it exactly. I think we have a terrain paint that is the same thing at a different scale. So it doesn't look, it looks very obvious that you've got two different things there. You've got the same pattern, but smaller in our terrain paint versus what they have in the world. So that really stinks. So I ended up doing a totally different base game terrain paint that I felt like was the same in color, and the rocks are about the same size, but it's definitely not the same pattern. I think it looks okay. And I also tried to put in some planter boxes around. You know what I realized? I did not actually do any street lighting, which would have been a good idea for here, but I did do some planters and tried to copy a little bit of the trees that are around the area. And so, yes, the interior has got as much cozy vibes as I could muster, and functional. I also, for the very first time, used the ceiling fan from Werewolves. It's everything from Werewolves is like a rundown looking thing, or it's broken, or the paint is chipping or something. And that's how this fan is too. I don't think the fan is broken in game, but it is chipped paint or just rough around the edges. And I chose to use it because I thought, maybe you could just imagine that instead of it being like chipped paint or rubbed off stain on the wood blades, it could also be dust. You know how dust just collects on ceiling fans? And it's just one of those things when you clean your house, at least for me, I don't think to look up there and clean it all the time, because I don't look up that way very much. So it doesn't bother me. This is probably really gross, but it doesn't bother me so much that there's dirt there or that there's a bunch of dust there, because I don't look at it that much. So it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So I thought, if this is an older home that's kind of like that, maybe that could be the concept, is that, these ceiling fans just have been there for a long time and they collect a lot of dust. So I like that idea. Something that I really like that I did in this house was a small little office off of the living room. Again, felt like let's make a big space where we need a big space and a small space where we can, because the plan was about efficiency. So this it's almost a nook, but it has a separate door to it. And I really enjoyed just kind of cluttering up that room with diplomas and books. And it's got, your typical computer station. Maybe it looks like somebody works from home there, or it's actually more like, when I think about an established home that was built decades ago or that somebody moved into decades ago, they have a dedicated office space. And, now that feels commonplace, or I don't know, I feel like we think about it differently now, because ever since COVID, so many people work from home. But having the dedicated office was a very dignified thing, in my opinion, in these other homes. I know the home that I grew up in was built by my dad, and he actually did have an office in there, but that was such a luxury. That was considered such a fancy thing, that there was a separate room in the house just for an office space and not just a desk, in the corner of the kitchen or something. And a lot of people will also convert their dining rooms into offices, but this one has this little dedicated room for office space. And I thought that was very realistic for a place like this. I use the high school years tiles in the kitchen and the bathrooms. Love that stuff. It is, they are tiles that they come in lots of different colors, but they have a border, so you can put an outside border on them. Something that's interesting that they did with the for rent tiles is I don't think they have an outside corner. I think they have an inside corner. So I'm thinking about, so what I ended up doing, eventually you'll see it, is in the build, when I furnish the next house on this lot, it is I use the for rent tiles in the bathroom and the kitchen area. And I don't think that it had an outside corner. It has an inside corner. So I ended up kind of making this little design in the middle of the room rather than the perimeter of the room. I thought that was a nice touch. I also, for the second one, try to make it look a little bit more modern, but we'll get there. Really very happy with the way this turned out. Like I said, managed to fit a lot in here. I think I did a small child's bedroom, a teenager's bedroom, which was really beautiful. Once you get to the screenshots of that, I'm really happy with it. And then there's the parents' room and an additional bedroom that looks like it could be for Uncle Robbie lives here, or maybe Grandma lives here, or something like that. Because it's not very distinctive to a certain age group. It's not like this is definitely a kid's room or this is definitely an adult's room. And I feel like it could just kind of be that extra. It could also just be where your overnight guests stay, but it is just a single bed. But I was really happy with it. Also used this mirror. It's kind of like a mirror cabinet unit that we got with the for rent pack. It's not something that we typically get. It's kind of like an accent table with a big mirror on top of it. I use that in the owner's bedroom, and I really like the way it looks. It just fits the style absolutely perfectly. And of course, try to use as much everyday clutter and bathroom clutter as possible. I love the bathroom clutter kit. It's truly it's just one of the best things that they've ever created, in my opinion. And I would buy more and more clutter packs. I feel like you can never have enough. Even though they're expensive, I just feel like these little tiny items are what make the game so much more fun. So, I did the owner's bathroom, and then the children's, or the shared bathroom on the floor, is a lot more child-oriented, which I like the idea of. I also like the idea that possibly this is a set of grandparents with their children, and that's just because the style of the building, or style of the interior, is older, and I can see this being like me going to go to my grandpa's house or something. And this is what it looks like, but maybe they live with their grandparents, and maybe the parents live there too. It really is. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with myself that I was able to get a pretty large house in this smaller footprint. And that's something that just never gets old with building in The Sims. I feel like you can always surprise yourself. Sometimes sometimes the challenge is you've got a bedroom that's way too big and you don't know how to furnish it, but you end up furnishing it and it looks really nice. That is, that's an accomplishment. It's also an accomplishment to take a small home or a small footprint like this and turn it into a really spacious home for a family. So I'm really happy with it. And I like that, these big lots that we have, 20 by 30, it's kind of like the more standard size lot that you have in The Sims, but I managed to fit 3 large homes on it. And I feel like the For Rent pack is really allowing us to play with that scale of our communities in a way that is really meaningful and really, I don't know, something really gratifying about, you can really transform your community now, being able to build apartments or to have, for example, 8 units on one lot, or I think the max is 6, but you can cheat it all the way up to 100 so far as that. At least that's what I see on the creators. I have not tried to do that. I do not think that my computer can handle that kind of pressure to use that cheat and put more units on a lot. And honestly, every time I've built one, I can easily see how you could fit a ton of living spaces on one lot. But I think 6 is the right number if you want to also give that community some amenities, some shared amenities. Because once I put in shared amenities, I run out of space very quickly. But this place does not really have shared amenities. There's kind of like an alleyway in between each one. And that is, I really like that feature too. I believe that, that's a realistic thing. I put up some string lights and, people can just sit out there with their chairs. Maybe they can put a grill out there. Maybe if you have a dog, that's where you go let the dog out. So really, really was happy with this. I really like how compact, but yet spacious it all is. Really managed to fit a cozy, established home in a small area. We have now moved on to the second house on the lot now. And again, really happy and impressed with how much space managed to happen in here. I think this one only has 3 bedrooms, which is still a decent sized family home. That's kind of your standard in America anyway, to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. This one is 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, I believe. I think I put a shower or a bathtub in the lower level bathtub. So they're all full bathrooms. Also, you'll see this is where I dropped down that tile from For Rent, which really had this fun modern look to it, and also decided to just modernize this one a little bit. Like maybe these people just moved into this space and renovated it, and they have a more modern aesthetic, and they also haven't had years to just collect things that are cluttering up the house. So this is a little bit cleaner. I don't want to call it minimal because it definitely has things in it, but it's, compared to the first one, much more minimal. And I really enjoyed having the exposed brick on this one. I still made it look like it was an old building by using some of the scuffs that we got from the For Rent pack, as well as Vampires has like some cracks in the walls. So I used some of that, but I wanted it to look clean, and that's kind of what makes brick so beautiful, is it does have wear and tear, but it still maintains its strength. There's something really beautiful about a material that is resilient, even though you can see its age, which is something to be said about humans too, or dogs or anything. Something still has strength, even though it has age. So that's something that's really nice about the brick being exposed. And then I used a lot of, I love the kitchen that we got from For Rent. And also I cannot stop using the Home Chef Hustle refrigerator in every build now, because it fits under the cabinets. It seems so simple, but it fits under the cabinets, and no other refrigerator does. It seems so silly, but it's so perfect that it can do that. And you know what else I would like? It's funny. This is how it is in the Sims community. You give them something that they do want, and they'll tell you 5 other things that they also want. So, for example, they gave us this great refrigerator that fits under the cabinets. And what I would love to see is a mini fridge that slots under countertops, just like a dishwasher slots under the countertops. I think that would make so much sense to be able to have countertop, and you do have a workable surface on top of the mini fridges in The Sims, but it's not seamless with the rest of your kitchen. So it would be great if those could slot in there and you just have like regular countertop on top. And I would love the way that would look. It's something that I do in my professional, like in people's break rooms, or just, or even in like if I'm doing like a medical room where they're storing some medicines or vaccinations or something in a medical fridge. A lot of times those medical fridges are small, and they're half size, and they fit under the counter, which is perfect, because then you can really streamline the look of the space. But again, that's another one of those instances where The Sims is not real, and that's okay. We make it as real as we want to, and we can make it as crazy as we want to. I mean, I love a good escape is to go watch somebody play like Dr. Gluon, and how he's like, oh, The Sims is already ridiculous. Let's see if I can make it even more ridiculous. And he does an incredible job of coming up with these solutions of, maybe we could do this in The Sims. The Sims would be perfect for this. And it's all things that I don't think of, because I'm one of the folks that likes the realism of the game and trying to make things feel a little bit more real. And I did allow some really cozy elements in the bedrooms. Again, I want it to feel like this family maybe just moved in here, but I also want it to look like they are real people. This is why I wouldn't call this space minimalist, because they definitely have things, but when you first move into a space, you don't unpack everything on, the first week, and you still live out of a box here or there. Not that I put boxes in here, but I did want it to feel as though, someone had just moved here and they haven't unpacked everything. And so everything's pretty tidy right now. And in gameplay, you'll accumulate things anyways. You'll win something at work, or you'll do a project at school that you get to keep, or you find collectibles, whatever that might be. And so you can definitely clutter the space up. You can also just go into build mode and clutter the space up. But I did try to put reasonable clutter throughout, because I do want it to look realistic and lived in. It doesn't need to be a show home. And had so much fun doing it. And what's nice about this one is, this one to me does not seem like a family home. It could be roommates, like adult roommates, or it could be like siblings that are adults. I can see two siblings living here. And so I made like pretty mature bedrooms. And then the third bedroom, I made it into kind of I think it was skill building. No, you know what? I think the upper hallway, I've got skill building items, but in the bedroom, I end up putting the, like a table for them to have people over and play games together, or with other people. So I think that was very fitting for this area too. I think of like two single adults. They might be roommates, or they might be siblings or cousins or whatever. But they live together in this place, and I felt like that storyline made sense for this, especially since it is so, it's a little bit more posh and modern, and, they've just moved in and they like the exposed brick, and, it seems like a very realistic thing to have happen. Anyway, I have talked enough for 3 videos, it feels like. I don't usually try to do videos this long. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you can download it and turn that third building into whatever you want. And I hope that you can download it and change it to whatever you want, even the ones that are currently there. So anyways, thank you for watching, and have an excellent day.